We're currently 5 generations into Monster Hunter, and with Iceborne, we've seen essentially all the areas to see in this particular generation. So, even though there's a couple DLC monsters coming in later, some of them we already know are going to be ones that we've seen before, but as it stands right now, I feel like it's a grand, perfect time to give you guys my top 10 favorite monsters in the 5th generation. Prepare for bias. Coming in at number 10, we have Zermatt. Now, Zermatt was the, I want to say, midway through the game boss, final boss, if you will, like second to final boss, before Xeno'jiiva when things got weird. But the whole purpose of you even being in the new world is because of what we first expected to be Zermatt. He was this elder dragon who was trying to find his way into the Everstream and like blow himself up and like destroy the ecosystem, whatever, you know the story. But the battle. I'm a huge fan of the battle. When you first come in contact with Zermatt in the very beginning, you are on the ship and you're just getting over to the new world. He shows up, he wrecks everything, and that's when you first come to grips with the controls of the game. You learn how to maneuver and use their slinger pod and so on and so forth, and then you're getting tossed and turned while you're trying to climb on his back and everything, and you're like, yo, who is this monster? What's going on here? And it was just immense. You didn't really understand what was going on, but you knew it was a monster. You knew it was an elder dragon, and he was this huge hulking behemoth. Okay, after that you go throughout the game or whatever, and then you run up with him again, and then you fight him when Nergigante first shows up, and he's on his back, and you're like, dude, what's going on? Like, it's an epic battle. The entire battle was just epic from start to finish. Like, I am the kind of person who likes using the cannonballs and like the Dragonator and like siege type monsters. That's my thing. I really like siege type monsters, and he was just a really cool siege type monster that really reminded me of Zermatt, who's actually one of my favorite monsters of all time. And then in the final battle, when you actually do get to fight him, and you don't necessarily kill him, but you turn him away so he can go die somewhere else, like the passion that went into the voice actors, like when the commander was like, you give it everything you got, I was like, yo, I'm feeling this. It was an intense battle, really riveting. I felt every ounce of that. Granted, the battles afterwards, they really weren't all that special, but the initial fights were intense for me. I loved it, and I was a huge fan of how it went down. And secondly, let's talk about the armor real quick. Of course, the armor isn't the best armor, but visually it's absolutely one of my favorite armor designs in the entire 5th gen. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. I love it from top to bottom for both male and female characters. At number 9, we have Rattlebond. Now, come on, like, you guys kind of knew this was a given. Urigan is my favorite monster of all time. There was no way Rattlebond wasn't going to make this list. But I bet a lot of you are thinking, like, why is he at number 9 as opposed to not like number 1? Well, there's ultimately better monsters in here that I actually find quite intriguing. But Rattlebond had to make the list, of course. He's that kind of monster for me. I love brute weapons. Rattlebond is no different. I love Urigan, and since Rattlebond is essentially a special kind of Urigan, of course he had to fit. Now, honestly, in his high rank, in his vanilla, his vanilla form, he wasn't the most intriguing. Ye had a couple of really cool things about him, how he had to gradually gain momentum. You can actually knock him off that momentum, but then when he gets into G rank, he gets this weird buzzsaw attack where it spins on his side. I mean, he's one of the few monsters that progressively got better as the iterations went on. Like, of course, his low and high rank forms was really good. I did like it. His armor is actually pretty cool. He has sleep weapons. He was probably one of the first and one of the few, rather, to have sleep weapons up until, I don't know, maybe Iceborne. But his G rank form, he gets all the other stuff that I liked before, and then he gets a couple of new things as well, like the little buzzsaw attack I told you about. Now, he's highly slept on, due in part to that he's a monster that you don't even really actually have to fight, really, for anything. You will fight him once and never ever have to fight him again. You won't even see him again because he's in the Rotten Vale, and he's at a particular point in the Rotten Vale where almost none of the monsters you have to fight ever again are even at. He's in the upper portion of the Rotten Vale, where everyone else is at the lower end. Odogaron, Val Hoseok, everyone else are closer to the lower end. Acidic Glavis, again closer to the lower end. You don't even see my mans anymore, but I like this fight because it was really cool. It really reminded me that like, yo, it's another year again, but he's wholly special to himself. His design is probably one of the greatest design brute weapons I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay, it's just so cool. His design and where he like sits within his environment is just, oh my god. I was like, this is powerful. This is beautiful stuff. So he's just a cool monster for me. Design wise, he's probably the best design monster on this list, save for maybe one other monster. And the fact that he's a descendant, if you will, or a future iteration of my favorite monster of all time, he had to make the list. Because none of the things that Uragan has, Rattlebond don't already have. So it was like a 1-for-1 for me. So my man is dope. That's why he's here. So at number 8, we have the Gatekeeper. Adjanos, Andrew, Snoz, Joe. I like this guy. Again, Brute Weapons, huge fan. But my man Andrew, Adjanos, I'm gonna call him Andrew from here on out. But man Andrew, he was the original Gatekeeper in this game. He was the first monster. If you don't know what a Gatekeeper is a monster where you first come across him, you're like, dude, this monster is actually really hard. The difficulty actually took a quick spike. Because all the monsters you fought before him weren't difficult at all. The most difficult thing you had to worry about was Tobik Adachi, and he could only kind of move fast. He didn't really hit that hard. He just moves nimbly, if you will. I mean, he's not a bad guy, because I mean, you did fight bears, so you kind of understand what a brute weapon is about. But he was just so different. He was a monster that he hit harder. He moved pretty quick. He had a couple of different attacks that you didn't really know like how it was gonna actually come out. He sneezed fire ? Yeah, that was the thing. And he had an incredibly damaging attack that just like plowed himself through the ground and into you and everything else. I mean, he was a tough fight. I will not lie to you. I had trouble fighting him initially, and I'd like to be one of those guys who say that I'm a seasoned vet, so I should know what I'm doing. He gave me some issues, and he's just a really, really cool monster. He's really dope design. I like how he's the quintessential dinosaur monster, and I'm actually glad they actually showed him in the initial trailer, because people who've never seen monster before, they didn't know what the heck we were doing. But I absolutely loved how everyone was calling it a dinosaur hunting game, because I saw Adjanos, whom of which was a dinosaur. And the thing is, people like dinosaurs, and they were like, okay, hunting dinosaurs is cool. And we got those same people to say dinosaurs to go and buy the game to understand it wasn't dinosaurs. They were brute weapons. They were a completely different thing, and they themselves played, bought, and loved the game, and are continuing being hunters alongside with this. So we owe, I hate to say it, but we probably owe Monster Hunter World's success to Andrew for that initial eye candy. And his armor is actually, it only looks good on the women. That's it. It looks good on the women. That's it. Making our way to number 7, we're looking at Bamber. Now, I'm going to refer to him as Bamberos because I kind of feel like I should explain, but Duramboros is a monster from the 3rd generation, and I made a video saying, yo, it'd be really cool if we got Duramboros to actually make an appearance in World as like some DLC or something like that. Well, since DLC is out and that DLC being Iceborne, we instead didn't get Duramboros, but we got Banbaro. So I love when we refer to him as Banberos, a mixture of two. Whatever. The coolest thing about Bambero, the thing that I like about, I'm gonna call him Bamberos, but the thing I like about him the most is when you fight him in the Hoarfrost Reach, you run across him and you're like, okay, it's a brute weapon fight, you're used to charging and all that stuff. If he runs into a spat of trees, if you will, he'll come back with the tree in his horns. Like, his horns go and acquire a tree when he runs into trees. Now, when he doesn't run into trees, he comes back with a giant ice ball of like ice and rock and things like that. You know, just whatever he rolled up comes into a ball and he hits you with it. But if he runs into some trees, he'll come back with a branch and throw it at you. And the coolest thing about all of this is the fact that we're in a living breathing ecosystem where a monster's actions actually matter. So he can run into, again, some trees and come back with one of those trees that he ran into and hit you with it. When I first saw that, that threw me, I was smitten. I was like, that's one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time, especially in a Monster Hunter game, where in which, and before, Rajang would pick up a rock from within the ground, and it'd be the same rock every time, and it wasn't all that cool. Pull up a rock that's from within the ground, yeah, I'm sure there's rocks in the ground somewhere. It was a little, you have to suspend your, belief, because, it's a particular formed rock that he would pull out of nowhere. But anyway, for Bambero, he would pull the tree out of nowhere. And it was really cool. Not out of nowhere, but he pulled a tree from the trees. So I really like the fact that his ability as a brute wyvern is to utilize his environment to attack you. Also, his armor is beautiful. Norse, beautiful. Hands down, just totally gorgeous. So apart from the fight being fantastic, riveting, like, it really helps with my immersion, the armor is fantastic too. Great hunt, great monster. Number 6, Viper Tobik Adachi. So, Viper Tobik Adachi, let me get off the rip. He's super duper cool. I love Tobik Adachi. I really do. Toby Versace, if you will. Shout out to the homie Nachos out there. I really did like that monster. He's a really cool monster. I just kind of felt like he was missing something. There was some... I didn't feel like, as an electric monster, he was actually supposed to be an electric monster. It's cool that he gets his electricity from static electricity, as opposed to where the other monsters, they have other means to get their electricity. My man is actually static electric, even though he gives thunder sacks, which really shouldn't be a thing. Nevertheless, Viper Tobik Adachi, his thing is ailments with an S. He does paralysis and poison, and he can do this in a couple of different ways. The usual tail flip smack will give the poison. He can also throw out what do you call them, like urticating hairs, kind of like how a trench can do the same thing, but these hairs will actually have poison on them, so you can actually get hit with it. He'll throw them on the ground, and if you run into it, you will also be afflicted with poison. He also has paralyzing agents in his saliva, I'm guessing, because his bites will actually paralyze you. He has a lot of means to actually get you debilitated, and it's super cool that he's more of a ninja. I hate to say it, but he's more of a ninja than Nargacuga is in the way in which he actually fights. He never likes to fight you head on. He will do all he can to be in your blind spot at all times. Every time I fight him, I'm always like rotating in the camera, constantly rotating. He'll attack you from the from like one side, you spin around, he attack back from that same other side, and you have to spin around again. So fighting him is tremendous. It's a good fight, because you have to keep your head on a swivel, because if you don't, you're gonna get smacked from all sides. Okay, him being a monster who can do paralysis and poison is really cool. Quite unique, honestly. I hate to say it, but quite unique. Most monsters, you get one or the other. So he's in that upper league where he has multiple means to actually ail you. So that's actually super unique and super cool. The armor is actually pretty dope looking. I like it a lot. It looks so cool. I forget exactly what it's designed off of, but compared to what the high rank version of Tobik Adachi stuff look like, it almost looks nothing like it. It looks super cool, and it looks warm and comfortable. All in all, I just like him. It's a damn good fight, incredibly good design monster. I feel like this is his true final form. At number 5, Great Garros. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. What? Great Garros? Really? Great Garros was actually on my original top 5 favorite monsters this particular generation, if you will. New monsters, if I made that video a long time ago, but he's just so cool. I mean, I've always liked pack monsters that actually command smaller monsters like Great Jaggy, the Velociprey, the drones, the Greys, the whole, like all that. I was a huge fan of those monsters because they have a special assignment to fulfill in Monster Hunter games. They're there to get the player acquainted with how the mechanics of the game work. They're not supposed to be difficult monsters. They're supposed to actually keep you on your toes as you progress slowly but surely. Every now and then there'll be a different one that actually have a different particular element to them. It'll be paralysis, it'll be sleep, or it'll be poison, whatever. Like, they all cover all these spectrums, and it's a great introductory monster to those type of ailments. And then later on, they give you a monster who full-on masters it, and they're like much stronger. So think of Irodrome, and then like Gypceros, or like Irodrome and then like Giganox, or like Irodrome and then Giganox and then Chameleos for poison, if you will. But in this case, Garros is paralysis. There's not too many paralysis monsters, and in the 5th gen there's 2, if I'm not mistaken, just Garros and Viper. So it's really cool that he's actually keeping true to his great and being a monster who you first come across with the paralysis, and then later on you fight a monster who's a bit higher tiered than him. Now, all that aside, what I like about him the most is that out of all the great monsters I've ever fought, all the drone type monsters I've ever fought ever, this is the one monster who actually commands his subjects to do what they need to really do. Most of the time, other monsters, they just make a whole lot of noise, like, oh, we're making noise. Then the monster, they'll chime in. Garros commands them, and he tells them what to do, and they follow these orders. It's crazy. Like, you'll be fighting, and then out of nowhere, you'll just get swarmed. Like, the Garros would go on some kamikaze strikes and really go hard on you, or they'll swarm and they'll swim around the Garros, the Great Garros himself, acting as like a meat shield. It's crazy. Like when you fight these things, they're smarter than your average bear. And the armor being a plague doctor, do I need to get started on that? Some of the best armor in the entire, top 3 best looking armor in Monster Hunter. I don't want to hear it. Fight me in the comments right now. Cruising in, number 4, we have CC Yaku. Incredibly weird. Why is this monster even on the list? I bet you're wondering. Well, CC Yaku makes it here because he is the assist of the century. The number of times I'll be fighting in the Coral Highlands, and I'll be fighting Pink Raytheon, Legiana, Odogaron, I don't know, just name anybody who just frequents there. And we getting it in. We in there fighting, we throwing hands. He's hitting me, I'm hitting him, stuff is getting crazy. And then CC will show up and then just flash. Free flash bomb. And then dip. Dead serious. Come through, flash, and then bounce. Or come through, flash multiple times. And then dip. It's something that you take for granted, but it's something that always gets me hyped. It's something that constantly reminds me that this is a living, breathing world that we're in, the Monster Hunter world, the 5th generation, if you will. And a monster very well could just be doing what it do, and then see that someone is getting extra turned up. And to make sure that he himself doesn't get caught in this action, uses his defensive capabilities to see that he doesn't get smacked with the action. I.e., if a Pink Raytheon, who's probably more than capable of killing a CC, could come through, and if the CC sees the Pink Raytheon getting it in, it knows that it can flash it, cause it to lose its sight, probably drop it from the sky, and then bolt off, and then run away. So the fact that I like it as an assist, and it being so strong as an assist, because no other monster really does this. But another monster comes in, what do? They turf war, they beef, they fight, they get in the way, they sometimes stay there and then fight you too. CC doesn't do that. CC comes in, flashes, and then bounces, okay? So I respect its ability to do what it does. It does so well for me. And it's modest. It's out of there. It does its juice, and then it kicks rocks. So thank you for not being a meanie and a very bad person, annoying. You're just a flash bomb, and I thank you for that. Your armor is terrible. Coming in at number 3 is the bad guy for the 5th generation, Basilgoose, Bazagales. I made that last one up. But this guy, the B52 Bomber, he is one of my favorite Pokemon in this generation, flat out. Like, need I really say more? Like, he is just, there's a lot. Not seething. Seething is cool. The reason why I didn't choose seething, because seething is a direct evolution of Baz. And you would think, well, if he's a direct evolution of Baz, put him in. No, because it just means they're equal. So in this particular case, I chose Baz more or less for nostalgic, but because of his scale scattering properties. I prefer his versus Seething's. Seething does have Mexican popcorn, but Baz does take to the sky to drop more scales like a natural bomber more often than not, whereas Seething Baz finds other means to actually attack it as opposed to taking flight and dropping his scales, more like the actual B52 Bomber itself. Nevertheless, Baz was that monster who was a literal intruder, okay? I'll admit, he was a literal, you'll be fighting anything, anywhere, and he rolls up and is like, nope, not having fun when I'm not having fun, and then he'll come through, drop some scales, and crash land everything. He'll kill the monster you're fighting, he'll kill you, he'll kill himself, he don't care. Everybody must die if he's around. He doesn't care about your feelings. He doesn't care about that monster's feelings. He just knows that since either one of you are here and he's here, something has to go. And that something is everybody. The whole world needs to die. And I like that. That mentality is Jan Garuga. minus the super schizo. But that's definitely Jan Gruga speaking right there in terms of like a bad guy type of mentality. And I already spoke to you guys that Jan Gruga's my favorite bad guy of them all. I gotta include Baz for the same reason. So, nevertheless, his fight, his presence, everything that is about actual Baz, we all know and love. Well, we all know, and that's why I love him. Also, his armor, dude, his armor is so godlike. I love lions. I really, really, really love lions. And it has a bit of a type of Norse kind of feel, you know what I mean? So, Norse and lions, dude, match made in heaven. Love it. Oh, how I ummed. Oh, how I awed. In what position should I put this monster? Lastly, it came down to this. In number 2, Black Veil Hoseok. Val Hoseok was my favorite monster in the vanilla game, bar none. Black Veil returns. Black Veil, I like Black Veil a little bit more than standard, simply because he himself is the cancer. It's not because he's in a cancerous environment that he feeds off of, and he can how he sucked the life force out of other monsters who were afflicted with the I'm calling it cancer, was really, really dope. But Black Veil himself is the actual cancer. There are spores on his body that produce the effluve, and he's just a walking, like, I hate to sound distasteful, but imagine some kind of pandemic that's probably going down in any particular time in the world. Black Veil Hoseok is essentially that. Okay, he is that. Think of a bad thing, and that's him. He's this festering, bulbous, like, gross, disease thing. And that's so cool because he is death. Okay, he is literally death. Where there is life, there's death. Where there is life, there is Black Veil Hoseok. He'll kill you by just killing you, or he'll kill you just by being there. Like, what other, like, how cool is it to come into a lush, cool environment like the ancient forest? Beautiful waterfalls, grasslands, tiny monsters, like vegetation and stuff everywhere. And then he strolls through and literally kills everything just by being there. He is the most metal thing this game has to offer in terms of, like, accidental destructive power, passive destructive power. He's a lot. And because all of this that he has to himself, the incredible armor design, my word, that armor design, you look like a Nazgul from the Lord of the Rings, but shiny, beautiful stuff. He is a pain to fight. Definitely a pain to fight. You absolutely need some type of miasma resistance. But as a monster design, he is probably one of the greatest monster designs in Monster Hunter. Flat out. Okay? What he can do, how he performs, and what he looks like. Top-notch stuff. I feel like they really dug their brains to come up with this actual monster here. And at number 1, we have the monster that made my jaw drop. When I saw this intro cutscene, I was floored. Just immediately I knew if this hunt wasn't cancer, he would be my favorite monster of all time. Nami Oh, aka Mega Gyarados. First, let's start with the monster design. 100%, 10 for 10, like perfect in every way. 99.9% perfect in every way. There's no underwater combat, so no monster is perfect. Okay, if you little underwater combat, we be in there. Yo, swimwear. He's a jellyfish thingy. Sometimes he does the weird jellyfish drop. Nevertheless, so Namale, Elder Dragon, one of the few water-based Elder Dragons that's also electric. I love the duality to this, the dual typing, if you will. Fantastic, I love that. But his design is absolutely breathtaking. Again, that intro cutscene had me floored. It was so beautiful. Using bioluminescence to actually lure our actual hunter and the scout flies into his trap. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. It's the way in which it commands water. That's, I guess, like, we wouldn't even call it water. It'd be more like saliva or something like that. And it uses it to actually ebb and flow, like the ebb and flow of the battle, by using it to pull you closer or push you away, literally like a force of pulling and pushing. the ability to actually use that said water to pull you closer and then discharge a massive like discharge of electricity to electrify the area and then like pulverize the water and you with it, dude. Like, hit the things this monster can do are tremendous. The mix-up potentials, the cross-up abilities that it has, the Nova, if you will, among other things that it has. It just has so many things, so many abilities, so many cool, just, there are a lot of things this monster can do, and every single thing is cool, okay? Sometimes you think of monsters, they have a couple of cool things and a couple of bad things. I literally cannot think of one thing this monster can do and will do that annoys me. I'm just like, wow, it can do that too. Every time. Like, I was fighting this monster for just kicks and giggles, and for like, it wasn't until like the 8th battle, I think I saw everything it could do. There's a lot of cool things it could do, and it's all just fantastic. Like, I like the cry. I don't listen to battle music in Monster Hunter ever. I listen to this battle music, okay? I do it because it's beautiful, grand stuff. And the armor, okay, I'll put it like this. The armor is this height. For the females, you look like Squid Girl. For the males, you look like either Sephiroth or Zarathos. Yeah. But the weapons are fantastic though. Beautifully designed weapons, pretty great looking armor. The monster itself is in a class of Urigan for me, where there isn't a single thing about the monster I deem bad. Everything is just fantastic. I go on for a good while with this monster. I'm just gonna leave it at the fact that its design is like some of the best monster design I've ever seen in my life. The fight is one of the greatest fights I've ever had in my life. The armor, pretty good, but the weapons is again top notch. And with that, everyone, that is my top 10 favorite monsters of the entire 5th generation. What are your favorite monsters of the 5th generation? I myself have quite a list. I want to know your list. And if you want to see more videos like this, please let me know in the comment section. Not comics. I read comic books. I'm actually reading one right now. Whatever. But put what you like in the comments section. And if you want to see more top 10s or any particular top 10s, let me know in the comment section as well. With that being said, it's been your boy, and I'll see y'all next time. Take it easy.